What up, YouTube Live? How's it going, everybody? Uh, Let me post on my social media that I am now live on or at youtube.com/Rama Screen One discussing. Okay, good. I posted it. All right, so today is, or right now is Friday night, December 21st, which means Runaways Season 2 has officially aired on Hulu. And this time Hulu dropped it, the whole thing, the the whole shebang, the full batch, the entire 13 episodes. Unlike the season 1 where it was like on a weekly basis and you had to wait for a couple of months to finally catch on this the whole thing. Um, in my review of season 2, and you've watched the episode, I mean, you've watched that video, and I said to you that I will be spilling some spoilers, but not major spoilers. Um, well, in this one, I want to talk about the major spoilers. Now that the season 2 already aired, and hopefully many of you have already watched it. Maybe some of you haven't finished all the way up to episode 13. That's fine. So just a heads up, this video contains major spoilers. Okay, spoiler alert. I love this show. Oh, I love season 2 so much, even better than I did season 1. um I'm not gonna go through why. I already mentioned why I love it in my review video, so you can check it out there. But I'm gonna break it down to some of my favorite scenes, some of my favorite episodes, and I'm gonna reveal to you who is my favorite runaway. Of all the runaway characters, the teenagers. Um, they're all likable, but I have one who's a favorite of mine. So okay, let's go start with. I have my notes here. Favorite episodes of season 2. I have two episodes in this new season that I really like. I mean, I still have the screener that Hulu gave me, and I keep rewatching those two episodes of all the 13. I love all 13 episodes, but these two stand out. And the first one is episode 7, Last Rites. Now, this is the one where the episode ends with this meetup or reunion at the dig site. Um, and, it ends with Jonah getting killed by Nico. I love this episode because part of it, um, it reminds me of season 1, episode 13. Do you remember that, my fellow Runaways fans? When that season 1, episode 13 also took place at the dig site. The kids and the parents clash or collide. The same thing happened here in episode 7. You know, it everything prior to that leads up to this one, to this moment when Jonah wants to have his spaceship resurface from the ground. And remember, um, he hasn't been able to do that over the years. That's why he lives eternally, right? That's why he has to kill runaway teens or anybody along the way. Um, hey, Tilly Wilson. Okay, well, just a heads up. This does contain spoilers, so that's why he's not able to get the spaceship from the dig site up to the surface because the technology hasn't caught up yet until now. He's been here on Earth since, I think, according to episode 8, since the early 1920s, I want to say. Back when everybody went to that the church in the tent thing. Everybody was so religious back then, even more so than some of them are now. So in this episode 7, one of my favorite episodes of season 2, um, Nico kills Jonah, and Nico does it in an epic way. Oh my god! And there's so many cool things happening in this episode too. as well. I mean, uh, for one, we actually get to see inside the dig site, what's inside that tunnel, because Carolina takes a couple of them down there, and it's such a. I keep replaying that scene or moment every time I watch that, I rewatch that episode. It's just something. It just screams out awesome. It screams out like it wows you. It was like, wow, look at that. Carolina once said, "It's like falling with style," and Chase is like, because Chase is one of the people that Carolina takes down there, and he says like, "Wow, this is like riding an elevator without the elevator." So many awesome lines in this show. I love them. I love them so much. So episode 7 is one of my favorite episodes in this new season 2. The other episode, remember I said 2, right? The other episode that's my favorite is episode 10, titled Hostile Takeover. Oh my god, this is where that dirty new cop, because there's a couple of dirty cops in this season, and the previous cop got replaced by this new dirty cop. His name is AWOL, and AWOL is nasty, man. He got all his team. They're all dirty. They're all corrupt, and so they forced Levy, yeah, Alex's new girlfriend, to bring them to the to underground mansion. And long story short, um, basically they went in. They broke through. Uh, Nico, to her credit, does her best to shield the underground mansion, and that's also another cool moment by Nico. And so yeah, this is one of my favorite episodes because it really gets me worried, concerned. You know, there are many episodes in this season where I'm concerned for the safety of the kids, the runaways, but none more so than this episode. This episode was just like I was really worried that they might finally get hurt, because AWOL is a guy who pretty much would cross the line. Let's put it that way. And that's why it was so intense. I was so on edge, and I was like so worried for these kids. And because of that, this is also one of my favorite episodes where the stakes are really high, and it's like you really, it's like a thriller thing. And at the same time, in this episode, Gert and Old Lace, who are by now sick, so Chase has to take them to someplace else while the underground mansion is being invaded, and just, oh my gosh, it's just like, you're like, whoa, you keep hoping, you keep praying that the kids would come out okay on the end of this at the end of this episode. So those are my two favorite episodes in season 2, episode 7 and episode 10. Episode 7 titled Last Rites, and episode 10 titled Hostile Takeover. Okay, so another thing on my note, episode 7 also got me addicted to this song by musician named Billy Ellis, and the song is "You Should See Me in a Crown." Oh my god! Oh, you should download that song. You will get addicted. That song is played in one of the scenes in episode 7 when the Runaways, the kids, they infiltrated, or let's just use a present tense. They infiltrate the dig site, and so the song is playing in the background. There's a couple of song selections during this new season 2 that are pretty interesting. One of them is actually an a pretty retro rendition of Smashing Pumpkins' classic song. I don't know if you remember Smashing Pumpkins, one of my favorite bands growing up. And that's one of them. And this is the other one. You should see me in the crown. So go YouTube it. Billie Ellis. You should see. I love Billie Ellis so much. Did you hear her other song, Ocean Eyes? Dusting the school dance, everybody hooking up scene. Oh, I don't remember that scene. I apologize, Celia. I forgot about that. So you're saying that the show has used Billie Ellis before? Okay. My bad. this is my first, I guess, to me, my first realization of Billie Ellis and my first awareness of Billie Ellis. Now I'm a new fan of hers now. I'm like, okay, I mean, because I love that "You Should See Me in a Crown," or at least how the episode 7 uses that song in this one, and I keep listening to it on loop on my iPod and on my YouTube while I'm studying, while I'm vlogging. Oh, love it, love it. So thank you for that tidbit, my friend. Thank you so much. Okay, another thing that you should also notice that cracks me up about season 2 is so many house meeting calls. But it's natural, right? Because they live in this mansion, and like I said in my review video, the episodes have missions. You know, they have a mission sometimes. Like that's why it feels like a procedural. Each episode will be like, okay, we gotta steal this, or okay, we gotta rescue this guy. All right, we gotta. So sometimes, okay, a couple of us will go. You cover. You hold the fort, or some of us will go, and maybe Carolina will go. I don't know, hang out with Jonah. You know, so but there's always a mission, and before the mission happens in each episode, they'll be like, okay, guys, let's gather around, family meeting. And then the next episode is like, house meeting, Jonah wants to kill another runaway teen. And then it's like a house meeting, we need to plan a quinceanera for Molly. There are so many house meetings, so many family meetings. It's an observation, you know. It just cracks me up, and it's totally understandable why they have that. And I think it's cool because it means that even though it's rough around the edges or slowly but surely kind of thing, that the kids, the runaways, are working or coming together as a family and as a team. You know, they're really trying to make it work. It's not always smooth sailing, but you know, they're like, we gotta have a meeting. We gotta have a meeting, and that's good. That means they know that they're stronger together than just each of them by themselves. All right. So my next one here, Jonah. As I mentioned earlier, Jonah has been here forever, at least from the 1920s, according to episode 8. And you also see in that episode the origin of the Church of Gibbons, or at least how he influences the founder, Leslie's dad. I think it's Leslie's dad, right? Leslie's dad, to start the Church of Gibberish. I'm sorry, I think I mispronounced it. Church of Gibberish, Gibberism, Gibberum, Gibberum, and he uses that as a front. And as we know in season 1, and that's also part of the ways in which they select some of the runaway teens, because you know, people who look. I used to grow up religious. In a religious family. I'm not religious anymore, but you can, if you step back, if you see from an outsider's point of view, you can tell um, when somebody is a believer, like to the point of blind faith. Like I will go to the ends of the earth for my pastor, for my God, whatever. And so they would not question at all if they're like being told like, oh, you got to go here, you got to go inside this coffin like thing, and they'd be like, okay, whatever, you know, as long as I'm saved, or as long as I end up in heaven after this. And so my point is that it was a brilliant strategy by Jonah, you know, because that's the way that's the way he has to rejuvenate or regenerate, you know, using Doctor Who reference. Um, and what better way to do that than to, you know, to bait people, to bait potential victims? What better way to do that than to use religion? Because people are, when they believe, they can believe so much so that they become gullible or naive, and they'll just like, you know, if you tell them like, hey, you gotta sacrifice yourself. Okay, I'll sacrifice myself for you. Um, so that's just an observation that runs through my head during that episode. It's like, oh, of course, it makes totally sense. You know, if Jonah needs to kill people to keep him alive until he can, get the spaceship out of the dig site, for how many other years that would take, this is one way to do it. This like it's brilliant move. It's a brilliant move on his part. Evil, but brilliant. Um, Another thing on my note, Victor is stuck in a limbo. And here's what's funny about that. Um, the limbo that Victor is in, or the purgatory, whatever, it's the computer thing, computer digital world. It's supposedly it's supposedly Victor's place when he was a kid, when he was growing up with his dad. Like it's his neighborhood. Back in the 70s, I think when Jimmy Carter was president. That's what it's supposed to be. Without people, without inhabitants in it, it's just him and that dining restaurant that or diner that he used to go to as a kid with his dad. What's funny about that limbo, we'll call it limbo, is that it is totally a WB backlot or a Universal Studio backlot, whatever you call it. The whole set where the building is fake, just the front exterior and there's no actual interior on the inside, or there's no back part of it. That's what it was. It was you could totally tell it's like they just shot it from at a WB studio lot, and that's funny because I've gone on WB studio tour, and I've gone, of course, on Universal Studio backlot, and to see that, it's just like and I totally get why they don't want to put the effort, the production design, in trying to mask that whole area of Victor's limbo to make it less obvious that it's a WB backlot. I can understand because it's just a fond memory of FAUX fond memory. It's not actually Victor, in a flashback, or it's not you don't really, as a viewer, as an audience, you don't really see Victor's flashback memory. It's just something that reminds him of his neighborhood. So I totally get why they don't, but because of that, it's just so obvious that it's a studio backlot. Okay, another thing I noticed, I observed in the season 2 is that there's leadership problem. Particularly with regards to Alex, in the first few episodes, Alex is like, because Alex has this knack where he considers himself to be, hey, the decision maker, and I'm not saying that the rest of the gang is telling him, hey, who died and made you king. No, they didn't go that. As a matter of fact, they actually gave him a chance. But time and time again, it seems like I guess the word I'm looking for, he gets kind of forcey. Like he's like, hey, it's got to be my way. I'm the smart one. So, and that rubs off the wrong way, of course. And some of his decisions actually, may not be wise because sometimes he gets clouded by emotions. Nico also has a chance in some of the episodes to be the leader of the Runaways team, and she also fumbles. At one point, Nico comes to Alex's room and is like, "Hey, do you want to tag? How you play tag team wrestling? He's like, hey, do you want to tag? Because I kind of suck at being this leader thing." And I myself have never been a leader in some kind of organization or school body, so I'm usually a member. So I don't know how to relate to that, but I understand why there'll be times when I guess the Runaways kind of, hey, who's the leader here? Who can actually guide us here? And at the same time, I also ask, is there really a leader though in Runaways? I mean, among them? I guess the bigger question is, should there be a leader among them? Or can it be just like everybody just contributes Everybody chimes in if anybody has an idea. Not necessarily, one has to be the deciding factor. Um, Maybe democracy is a much better form. Who knows? But I noticed that there is a leadership deficit in the team. Whether or not that's a bad thing, that can be argued definitely. Now, let's get to some of the entertaining moments. What are some of my favorite funny moments in season two? Okay, again, spoiler alert, spoilers, okay? Oh my god, there are so many funny scenes in this new season. I love this show. Okay, there's a scene which in which after Chase gets drugged by Dale and Stacy. Dale and Stacy, as you know, are the parents of Molly and Gert, the adoptive parents of Molly, definitely. So they tie up Chase, and they try to interrogate Chase, like, hey, where's your hideout? Where's your underground mansion, whatever? And Chase, to his credit, even though he's high, he's all drugged up, he still would not betray the Runaways. He would not tell Dale and Stacy where they hide, or where the I guess they call the underground mansion hostiles. But at one point, Chase tells Dale and Stacy about his sex life with Gert, just to rub it in, just to like. He says something along the lines of, "Hey, do you know that Chase and Old Lace, the dinosaur, they're connected telepathically? You know that, right?" As he's being drugged, and then Dale's like, "Yeah, we know." It's like, but I don't know which one of them is the animal. Chase like, you get what I mean? And then Dale says like, yeah, we get it. Just tell us where do you guys live? And then Chase is like, you know what I mean? Sexually, yes. Dude, I keep playing that scene again and again just to crack myself up. Love it. There's also a part, I believe in episode 6, where Jonah gets so desperate because he has to kill another runaway teen, otherwise his body will die on him. So that's his weakness, and he can't find another runaway teen. So he kidnaps Jeffrey, and he plans to kill Jeffrey, but the runaways are our heroes, the teens, break in and save Jeffrey from Jonah. But Jonah gets a bit of Jeffrey, just enough to rejuvenate himself, so he won't, deplete. I guess you could say that. And then Jonah meets the Pride, and then Jonah reveals to the Pride, yes, I tried to kill Jeffrey because Jeffrey, of all of you guys, Jeffrey is the most, is the strongest. He's the one with the most stamina. And then and Jonah says, I mean, who wouldn't want Jeffrey inside of them? And then Dale immediately said, I don't think that's what he meant. Oh my god, the writing is so brilliant in this show. Oh, kudos to the writers, man. Kudos to the writers. Another funny moment. Tina, Nico's mom. I want to say episode 11, probably. She gets possessed by the alien because remember some of the aliens actually come out of that spaceship right before it gets destroyed in episode 7. And some of those aliens actually infiltrate or possess a couple of the bodies of the parents. One of them is being Tina, Nico's mom. And holy crap, Nico's mom, Tina, an alien inside her, she is horny as hell. She is horny as hell. She's horny for metals. It's like, oh, look at this. Oh, have you ever touched metal? And then she's like all nymphomaniac about metals. And she even, at one point, she even touches Janet, and Janet gets so uncomfortable. It's as if like, it's like, what are you, coming on to me for? Why? Because Tina's like, Tina's touchy on Janet, and Janet feels so uncomfortable about it. Oh, and then Tina was also horny about cookies. I love it. It's so funny, you guys. I hope you guys get to see this entire season two. Oh, so those are some of my favorite funny moments in season two. Lastly, before I move on to the next topic, another funny moment is also in episode 13 when Chase calls Alex, and by this time, Gert hates Chase. Gert is pissed at Chase, so Gert tells Alex, "Do not pick up that phone, Alex." But Alex picks it up anyway. And Gert's like, "Oh, did you hear what I just say? Do not pick up that phone." Oh, love it, love it, love it. Okay, okay. Next topic. Next topic. Um, Rama, what do you think of Darius and his girlfriend, his pregnant girlfriend? Okay, so I've been thinking about this, because Darius shows up in only the first three episodes of season two, and then he gets killed off. Um, Darius to me is a mixed bag. Remember, who's Darius? If you want a recap or refresh your memory, Darius is Jeffrey's old friend from back in the day. But Darius goes to criminal life, and Jeffrey goes to being a businessman, even though still being a criminal because he kills runaway teens. So Darius in season two helps Alex. Alex now being the homeless runaway that he is. Darius gives Alex job, but but later on, Darius betrays Alex. Darius brings Alex to Jeffrey. Um, and Darius's girlfriend, Darius' pregnant girlfriend, is in on it. She's in on it too. They're in on the whole plan of betraying Alex and bringing him to Jeffrey. I guess what I'm trying to say by mixed bag is that on one hand, Darius is good to Alex, right? He's very helpful, and I think it comes from that being helpful that comes from a good place. It did not come from a malice place or a malicious place. Um, at the same time, though, I see Darius and his girlfriend as opportunists. Um, and I guess that's just their nature. I think if Alex is not in the equation, they would probably pull the same shenanigan. Because they are opportunists. They're like, what can I get out of this situation? That's how they, view things. I feel bad that Darius gets killed by Catherine. Um, but at the same time, though, I get the sense or the impression that Darius's pregnant girlfriend, is a more unlikable person compared to Darius. Because at one point in the middle of the season two, um, Darius's pregnant girlfriend, I'm sorry, by this time she's not pregnant anymore. She gave birth. But she aligned herself with AWOL, the dirty cop, because she's very hateful towards Alex. I think blaming Alex and Alex's family for Darius' death. But aligning with AWOL ends up backfiring at her. The whole thing with AWOL kidnapping Levy and threatening the baby. So my point is that she's not very smart. She's not very wise. Therefore, she's not likable. Whereas Darius, I think there's some redeeming quality about him. Um, I think the deal that he strikes with Jeffrey is just about him wanting to get what he believes is long overdue. Right? It's like, this is supposed to be mine years ago. Like I took a fall for you. Come on, you gotta repay me for that. So in that angle, through that perspective, I can understand where he's coming from. Whereas Darius's girlfriend is man, I don't know, man. I wouldn't hang out with her. Let's just put it that way. At one point, is also, uh, I think she gave um, Alex the gun back, and then she said to stay away from Levy and us, and that's fine. That's her request. But she also says she ends it with like, "Oh, I gotta go back home to milk my baby, otherwise I'll ruin my top." And I'm like, it's like how is that funny? Like it seems out of place for you to say that during this moment. So yeah, I guess my conclusion is that I think Darius is a more likable person than his pregnant girlfriend is. I feel more bad for him than I feel more bad about her, even though she's now raising her baby without a dad. So that's my conclusion about that topic. Um, so you want to know who's my favorite runaway character? Should I reveal it now? Who's my favorite runaway character of all the six of them, the kids? My favorite runaway character is Nico. Nico, baby. Nico! Woo! Now, don't get me wrong, all of them are likable, like as I said a million times before. I mean, freaking Carolina can glow. Chase got that super badass fistagon, right? Military gloves. Molly is super strong, and she defends the weak. And freaking Alex is super smart. He can hack shit, and Gert, can order old Lace to attack somebody. All these guys are so cool. But Nico, to me, has, I don't know, maybe the writers also like Nico as much as I do, but she's the one that gets the the most awesome moments. In episode 7, she rises from the dig site, from the tunnel, so badass, and then she lands in the stands there, it's so cool. And the way she kills Jonah, that jump, you can tell there's wiring work there. You can tell there's a wiring work, but it's still that stance. It looks so cool, and the actress Lyrica Okano, man, she pulls it off really, really pitch perfect, man. It's like even at one point when Nico comes out of the dig site or the tunnel, it she comes out in such an epic way that even Tina, her mom, you can tell because the shot was on her face, like, wow, you can tell Tina herself is wowed by that moment. Just like me, I was wowed too. Um, Last cool moment by Nico is during episode 10 when AWOL and the guys invaded the house, the dirty cops, and then Nico gets so exhausted from shielding the underground mansion, she passes out for a second, and then she rises back up again, and she obliterates the AWOL and the guys, and this is like one after the next, after the other and the other. I mean, the writers of the show and the directors, they love giving Nico um, a shiny moment. They love giving her, her moment. They love giving her like, hey, let's give Nico another badass moment. More so than the others. The others have their moments too, but Nico seemed to, at least in my opinion, seems to have slightly more. And because of that, I'm drawn to Nico. Um, yeah, because she just exudes cool. Everything about her is just so cool. Okay, I'm almost done here. Another thing I noticed in my Tilly says my favorite character is Gert because I relate to her with the sarcasm, the anxiety issues, and the problems she had coming off the meds quickly, which I've experienced. Thank you for sharing that, Tilly. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, let's talk a bit about that. Gert has anxiety problems, and I think that goes to my next topic actually, relationships. Season 2, if anything, wants to tell you that relationships are really, really, really hard. Gert and Chase, Nico and Carolina, Alex and Levy, it sinks in for them, because they're kids, they're teenagers. So for some of them, this might be even their first relationship, and it sinks in in the season two, I was like, holy crap, relationship is really hard. It's a lot of work. Um, in season two, trust, secrets, betrayals. Gert has anxiety, and Chase is frustrated because of that. Because Chase feels like Gert is not letting him in. You know, Chase becomes like one of those boyfriends, like, hey, I'm trying to be a good boyfriend here. Let me in, let me help you. And Gert's like, no, I got this thing that I'm dealing with. And and I get the sense as if maybe Gert is feeling maybe Chase like, what, why are you with me? Like, you're supposed to be with cheerleaders or whatnot. You know, I get the sense that as if Gert is pushing him away, maybe for the reason of like, no, this is just my impression, that he's like, hey, you know, this thing of we together, this shouldn't work out, right? I mean, like, in the real world out there, why would it work out? But credit to Chase, man. He keeps trying and trying, and he gets frustrated and stressed out because Gert wouldn't let him in, and at one point Gert even gets sick and gets the help from Chase's mom, and it's like Chase is so like, hey, you can't do that. You gotta let me help you. And this whole dynamic kept happening throughout the season, and it's done in a very non-pretentious way. It's done in a very genuine and honest way. It's like, yeah, because a lot of the teens out there sometimes, you know, we've been there, right? We've been teens before. We've been in relationships. We've had crushes. We've been on dates. We've had dates. We've had girlfriends, boyfriends. We know that when we were younger, sometimes we get in way over our head. We take on things and are like, whoa, I didn't expect that to be that overwhelming. So that's what I'm trying to explain to you by the relationships in this season. Nico, Nico and Carolina, the dynamic is slightly different. It's about Nico wanting Carolina to be one way, not to change, but it's like, hey, why don't you do this? Or like, why didn't you do that out there when we were fighting or we were battling our parents? Why didn't you do that? Like Nico has a certain expectation about Carolina, and in return, Carolina is upset because Nico, with her staff, kills the only connection that she has with her alien part of herself. So there's that dynamic, and between Alex and Levy, I want to say again, it's that whole thing again about keeping secrets. Alex does that quite a lot. Like, he's like, no, trust me. I don't want to tell you what it is, but you just gotta trust me. And I'm like, dude, you can't do that. you, you can't be in a team or quote unquote family and just expect the other members to be like, I'm not gonna tell you my plan. I'm not gonna tell you what is. Just you gotta trust me. No, no, that doesn't work in relationship. Not just boyfriend girlfriend, but any relationship. You gotta share, man. You gotta be able to take that risk. It's a risk sometimes to let somebody in. It's a risk to trust somebody with your secret. That is true. It's a risk. Sometimes it might not get requited or returned, but it is a very important step to have in any relationship. And I think that's why this season is so juicy and so engaging for me, at least. Not necessarily about their powers and their physical guns. It's because they're this whole thing, the dynamic between them. Can they be a team? Can they be a family? Can they actually understand each other when they're holding so many secrets from each other? It's like, will this work? Oh, I love it. I love it. So thank you for that, Tilly, for sharing that on why you like Gert. And you know what? I like Gert too. I like Gert too for the same reasons that why you do like Gert. I don't have anxiety problems, but I have family members that do. So I can totally understand from that perspective. Let's see, the Quinceanera episode where Molly gets her Sweet 15 Latina celebration. That is so sweet and wonderful. You got to check it out. I believe that's episode 11. I want to say episode 11. And here's a fun fact. The girl who plays Molly, her name is Allegra Acosta. There you go, Allegra Acosta. She is the youngest one of all the cast members, of all the 6 people. She's the youngest one. Everybody else is, I think, either 18 or mid 20s, 20. I think Chase, the guy who plays Chase, I think he's 26 years old. So, and I find that to be interesting because Molly, the character Molly, the one that Allegra Acosta plays, is also viewed as or treated as the littlest sister or the youngest sister of the group. Everybody, um, everybody has their boyfriend girlfriend situation going on, except for Molly. And Molly doesn't feel like she has to have a boyfriend. She's not in that place anyway. She's not yet in that place of romantic. She just wants to have a family. She wants to kick ass. She wants to use her power for good. And even Topher, the new character, when Topher comes in, because Topher relates to Molly. Topher even speaks Spanish like Molly, and Topher shares the same power that Molly does, that Molly has. Molly doesn't view Topher as a potential boyfriend. Molly doesn't view Topher as a potential love interest. Molly views Topher like a big brother because that's what she longs for. Being the youngest, her priorities are not there yet, not for romantic. She's still that young teenage girl that's just like, I want to have friends, I want to have family, I want to have quinceanera. She represents that, I guess you could say, the innocence left in the whole group, and that's an interesting point. I should point out. So yeah, love it, love it. She literally to kick Pim's ass. She puts on her pussycat, Women's March pussycat hat, pussy hat. I guess they call it pussy hat, right? Pussy hat, and she wears it like a mask, and she goes out at night and beats up pimps. I love Molly. Molly is so freaking awesome. Um, I'm almost done here. I want to say also that the faith community, the Church of Gibberim, there's a couple of episodes nearing the end of season 2 that were dedicated to the Church of Gibberim's drama. Because by this point, Leslie wants to dismantle the church, and I'm on Leslie's side because the church is a lie. The church is a cult, basically. It's like Scientology. Like as I mentioned earlier, it's a way for Jonah to find his victims, his runaway victims, because everybody's so gullible and they'll just follow whatever, even to their death. And these couple of episodes is where, I'm sorry, these couple of episodes are where Frank Dean, the character Frank Dean, becomes a villain. Just for these few episodes, he becomes the main villain. And now, it's like Scientology. I don't know if Frank Dean can be described as an equivalence to David Miscavige, who is the leader of Scientology, because David Miscavige, if I'm not mistaken, is in it for the power and the money, whereas Frank actually believes the bullshit. Frank actually believes that jumbo mumbo religion of Church of Gibberim, and his motivation is that he is afraid that if the church gets dismantled, people won't respect him anymore. Because remember, Frank initially is this failed actor. He's a shitty actor. So nobody takes him seriously as an actor. And so the church and this leadership status that he has in it, that's his only avenue to get respect. Not that he's power driven like David Miscavige, but he's like, oh my God, I'm so scared. If I lose this, what do I have? And I find that those 2 episodes dedicated to him as the villain to be quite interesting. And by the way, quick side note: I think you can correct me if I'm wrong. Let me know if I'm wrong. But I think because in these episodes, Leslie the revelation was that Leslie was pregnant, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I think the actress who plays Leslie, Annie Rushing, I think she was actually literally also pregnant in real life, during the shooting of that. Like that's not a fake bodysuit or anything like that. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe you can do the googling on that. But if I'm not mistaken, I think Annie Wershing was actually pregnant too, at the same time that her character has to be pregnant. So, quite the coincidence. Um, there were many times in the season two when the parents could have actually gotten some of the kids home. The part when Nico fights Tina, her mom, by the swimming pool. And then there's also the part when Janet helps Gert because Gert gets sick in the hospital. Uh, and and there's some other instances. But they let the kids go. They never actually tell the rest of the pride, or they never actually, tally tell on Jonah. And to me that that tells me that deep down, even though these parents kill runaway teens, that they actually do love their kids. And you could say, hey, Rama, I guess that makes them a good guy, right? That makes them good guys if they love their kids. No, because that means it's a really, really low bar. It's a really low bar. Every bad guy out there, as bad as they may be, if they murder, they will be really nice to their blood, to their family, at least the majority. And so, if you use that as a basis to determine or to judge them as good guys, that's a really low bar. um, but my point is that it's good writing on the show because it makes the parents not black and white, shades of gray. They're complicated. Except, of course, for Tina, who kills Graciela in the first episode, and Catherine, who kills Darius in that bathtub. Yeah, they may say like, "Yeah, I kill these people so I can find my kids home." That might be their motivation. But at the same time, it's like, wow, that you are vicious. You are heartless, cold bitches for doing those killings. So yeah, I just want to point that out. That's on my note as well. My last topic before I end this video: runaways working together as a team, not family, not relationships, but as a team, combining their powers, making them work together. Because they have this fistagons. Molly's got her strength. Carolina got the glowing thing, right? And Alex can do computer. Some of the practice or rehearsals that they have in this season two to make sure that they are in sync when they do their power thingy. Uh, you know, in training, their training sessions did not go well. They don't go well in season two. The few times that they have training, they don't go well. And I think it's because it's back to what I said earlier. They don't really have um, a Yoda, or in the movie. The movie in the series Daredevil. I think his name is Stick. Daredevil was trained by Stick. So they don't have somebody, a leader, or somebody to guide them through the trainings, through the training sessions. It's all trial and error. And because of that, they will always stumble along the way. Along the way. It will take a long time for them to finally master each other's rhythm. Right now, they're not there yet. We finished entire season 2, and there are some instances when you feel like, okay, especially in episode 7 when they battle Jonah. It's like, okay, Chase, hit him with the fist of gun, or like, okay, Nico, do the staff thing, yeah, and they'll be shouting at each other, do this, hey, it's your turn now, and there'll be instances of that in season 2 when it seems like they actually can work together, and not bad, not bad. If you want to grade them, you'll give them probably a B minus, but it hasn't gone to that place where they actually complete each other, that their powers complete each other's sentences. Do you see where I'm getting this? Like they haven't actually have that rhythm yet. Maybe in season 3, but definitely that has not been fully accomplished or tackled in season 2. And lastly, I want to just point out something silly of mine. That shot of them where Carolina's wearing yellow, Molly's wearing pink. Of course, Nico's in her goth black, and then Chase with that trench coat, brown trench coat, and of course Alex with his red and yellow suit. So, and then Gert with the purple hair and the jeans jacket. That, I think, is their cosplay. So if any 6 people out there want to cosplay at Comic-Con or WonderCon as the Runaways, they have to make sure that each of them gets those colors down pat. The outfit colors, because that's I think that's what these characters are known for now. Carolina yellow, Molly pink, Nico black, da da da. It has to be that. And it's like Power Rangers, you have the pink ranger, you have the yellow ranger, black ranger, blue ranger. So it's something silly that I noticed. I think it's kind of cool, and I think that's their cosplay colors, and it's gonna be like that for quite some time until they find new outfits for the new season. So okay, that's it. That's my long ass ranting about season 2 of Marvel's Runaways. My spoiler-filled rantings of Marvel's Runaway Season 2. I love this new season. For those of you out there who haven't finished watching 13 episodes of this current Season 2, make sure you go to Hulu. Make sure you binge watch it. It's freaking holidays, man. You don't have to go to work or go to school. Enjoy your days off this next couple of weeks by binge watching Runaway Season 2. I guarantee you're gonna be addicted to the show, to the characters, and to Billie Eilish's song. You should see me in a crown. Thanks for tuning in, you guys. Subscribe to my channel. Thank you, Tilly Wilson, for chatting with me. And as always, support my channel at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.